decided to stay put in Ganeth Harros. Even with their lord toppled, we had a long way to go before the people of Pelegion would be liberated in their hearts and minds. Lenegis hung ominously over our heads. We knew we'd need to deal with it sooner or later. We still had so many questions. The two sovereigns, the Red Woman and the Renis Alma, the present and past of 300 years ago. Not to mention what happened to Volron's body after his defeat. Still, we were determined to keep fighting. I had my hands full taking care of everything. But in some ways, I was kind of grateful to be so busy.
Are you all right? You looked like you were spacing out there.
Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry. You need something?
It's about that citizen's petition. I was coming to talk to you about it.
If I'm being honest, I think the problems of this realm's Dahnans hit close to home for me.
Oh?
You saw how things were in Menancia. We might have put way too much faith in Dohalim, but at least we could still think independently.
The people of this realm weren't even afforded that much basic dignity.
I don't know what kind of future the people here are going to ultimately choose. But whatever it is they decide, I want to help do my part so they can make that decision of their own free will.
You mean like how the Dahnans and Renans of Menancia chose to remain committed to coexistence? It'd be nice if this was a step towards that dream.
That's another issue altogether. At the very least, I want to believe all our hard work will pay off in the end.
Yeah. I guess we can only focus on what we can do right now and take it from there.
I'm going to go on ahead. Would you mind talking to Shion for me? Once you're ready, we'll meet up at the castle entrance like usual. We can talk more there.
Right. Got it.
Is something going on?
Sounds like it. Kisara wants us all to meet at the castle entrance. Taking in the view again?
Yeah. Looking at the scenery helps take my mind off things.
Like what?
Being a maiden. Whether I really am a descendant of Naori. Those kinds of things.
So, are you mad at me?
For what?
I destroyed the Renis Alma. Right as you were about to get rid of your thorns forever.
Why did you destroy it?
When I saw it appear in front of me, it reminded me of what happened back on Lenegis. And the rest was... it was all just a blur. I'm sorry.
It must have been a pretty terrible memory. Besides, we don't know that the Renis Alma actually was destroyed. For all we know, it might have disappeared with that Red Woman.
If so, then why are you...
Don't. It's okay. You brought me back. You got me away from Volron. That's enough for now. Let's get going. We shouldn't keep everyone waiting.
Oh, it's you two. I suppose that makes me the last one, then.
We better get a move on or else we'll never hear the end of it from Kisara.
Right you are. A month has passed since we vanquished Volron. I would have thought that the Renans on Lenegis would have made their move by now. Yet they still remain as silent as ever. We have no idea what happened to Volron's body, nor its whereabouts. The Red Woman also has yet to reappear, for that matter. And contrary to what I had heard, when the Renis Alma formed, not 5, but 6 elements were present, with darkness constituting the 6th and final Master Core. Were either of you aware of this?
You mean about the Renis Alma? Of course not.
Same. I had no idea a Darkness Master Core even existed.
What about Shion's maiden powers?
No. That was the first I learned about that, too. Or anything about having that power.
Me too. I remember thinking the same thing.
What could it all mean, I wonder? There are so many questions with too few answers, particularly when it comes to that Red Woman and her abilities.
Were it any other ability that used astral energy, I'd say it was an astral art. But hers was different.
Speaking of astral energy, we also mustn't forget that while the other Master Cores disappeared when forming the Renis Alma, for some reason the Fire Master Core remained. It may well have been the work of your maidenly powers. Alphen, are you still able to wield the blazing sword as before?
For now, at least. That Renis Alma sucked most of the energy out of the Fire Master Core, but it still has enough for me to use the sword.
And the sword is safe inside of me for the time being.
Good. At least that's one thing we needn't concern ourselves over.
You can say that again. We have more than enough to deal with as it is. Let's go.
Hey, wait up!
This is Ganya, who has a problem he needs help with. I was just about to ask him what that problem is.
All right, then. Well, tell us what's on your mind, Ganya.
I'm hungry.
You're hungry? Where are your rations? Did you not get yours?
I did.
Are they not enough?
No, I have enough.
Then what's the problem?
Alphen, you have to remember, these people aren't used to responding so quickly. Be slow and gentle with him.
Oh, right. I forgot. Sorry about that. So you have your rations, and it's enough food, but there's still something wrong with them.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I got that part.
Do your rations taste bad?
I don't know.
What's that supposed to mean?
I haven't eaten them, so I don't know how they taste.
Wait, if you're not eating them, then what are you doing with them?
Bringing them into the castle.
What? Why?
Everyone in my group is doing it. I don't know who told us to do it. They only said to bring the rations into the castle.
I'm guessing none of us told them to do it, or else we'd know, right?
I was afraid that something like this might happen. The people in this capital are slowly regaining their own wills, but...
Are you saying someone who got their will back sooner might be taking rations from other people? If so, that's a serious problem.
Definitely. This is something we can't ignore. We need to investigate the castle.
Very
well.
Hey.
Pardon me?
What the hell? Do these guys not realize who we are?
Doesn't seem that way. I must think we're just damned from the town.
Whatever's going on.
Hear me! Flame of fury! Burning heart steel! Here's evil! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Yeah.
Hey.
You don't say. Well... Well?
How?
Oh, wow!
So then... I've talked to the soldiers and made it clear that they are to remain in line. Things should stay calm for the time being.
I know Renans tend to take authority extremely seriously, but you sure know how to throw your weight around as a former lord.
I only managed to get through to them because Volron's curse is lifting, but not to the extent that they can act independently as of yet. Considering we had other matters to attend to for the past month, we should consider ourselves lucky that nothing occurred during our absence.
But if they do start operating independently again, that's going to cause a whole new set of problems to deal with.
Indeed. Geneth Heros is unlike Menancia. Without intervention, they'll likely revert to oppressing the Danans as they were doing before.
Meaning there's still a lot of work to be done in this realm. Not that there aren't problems among the Danans, too.
Yes. There was no way to avoid the deep-seated conflicts that had festered here. But... I just hate that we had to use your position as a lord to solve the situation, Dohalim.
Had I not intervened, yet more blood would have spilled here, and nobody wishes for that.
So, what's going to happen to the Renans here now?
Why do you ask?
We've stripped the soldiers of their armor and locked them up. They can't hurt you guys anymore. I promise.
So they're alive? They're not going to die?
What?
Those people deceived us. They did terrible, terrible things to us. They made us suffer. Long before you guys came along. For years and years and years. It was constant. Never stopped. Not even for a day. So many people died. Our parents, our children, our friends. They all died. They were murdered. And it was the Renans. The Renans were the ones who did it! They killed us! Why do they get to live after so many of us have died? The bastards should die! Every last one of them!
I know how you feel, Ganya. I used to be a slave, and I hated the Renans just like you. I took up the blazing sword to bring them down. But along the way, I've met many people and seen many things. People refusing the hand life dealt them. People who have lost loved ones, but are still trying to make this world a better place. People driven by hate who stopped before it was too late. And those who couldn't and paid with their lives. And I fought plenty of people who were all too happy to make others suffer. Believe me. But after a while, I came to realize that it's not the Renans who are our true enemies.
Then what the hell are we fighting if it's not them?
We're fighting against anyone who tries to take what doesn't belong to them.
But that's what these Renans are doing! How is that any different?
Because I judge everyone by their own actions. That goes for Danans, too. Because at the end of the day, at the root of all evils committed is an individual who committed them.
You're right, Alphen. It seems like people are either blaming an entire race for one individual's sins, or an individual for everyone else's mistakes. But all that does is add more hate in a world that's already full of it. I want to help create a society where people can finally stop suffering and move beyond their pain. But if we try to do that with more violence, then we'll just end up right back where we started in the first place.
All right. Have it your way. I can't argue with the folks that helped us get back our ability to think and speak freely again.
Is that to say you trust us then?
I don't trust the Renans as far as I can throw them. I trust you guys because of who you are and what you've done.
Fair enough. We won't let you down, Ganya.
What's the matter, Kisara? Is something wrong?
Oh, no, nothing. It's fine, really. I'm just a bit worried about what'll happen to all these folks.
Right. It'll take time before they start thinking for themselves again.
Indeed, that is part of it. However, what I'm even more worried about is what will happen to them after that. What do you think they're going to want once they realize how cruel Volron was to them?
Probably revenge.
What happened to Ganeth Haros is the worst form of oppression we've seen, but treated cruelly or kindly, slaves will rise up.
Lenegus aside, there are still remnants of Renan supremacists scattered throughout Dana.
You mean all that trouble we went through to get rid of the Lords might just lead to more violence? That's the last thing I want to see happen.
Of course not. And if we don't do something to prevent it all from starting up again, there could be even more bloodshed for us to regret. There's still a lot we don't know about the Renan rulers. Whatever the face of truth behind their veil, it's on us to put a stop to them. But there is one thing that's clear. Whatever we do to finally end it, our motives can't be getting back at the Renans, or it'll all be for nothing.
So, what exactly is it that you're saying? That we should just act as if nothing happened?
Law's right. We can't expect everyone to just forget all the pain they've endured up until now. Not so easily, at least.
But we have to at least try to change course. We can't just keep allowing history to repeat itself like this.
Exactly. Look, I won't deny that between the crown contest and 300 years of oppression, there's a lot of bad blood between the Danans and the Renans. But all these problems are just too big for us to try to carry the burden on our own. We'll keep doing our part in the interim, but we need to take this one battle at a time. Where are you going?
Since when do I need your permission to move around?
I wasn't saying that you do. Though I'm not sure why you're biting my head off about it either.
Oh, that's so typical of you. How can you be so relaxed about all this? At this very moment, the enemy is doing who knows what behind the scenes. And yet we're just sitting here twiddling our thumbs in Ganeth Haros.
I know that. But our hands are tied right now. What do you want me to do? And what's gotten into you anyway? Is there something you want to say to me, Shion?
Look, you're right. Forget I said anything.
If I said something to hurt you, I'm sorry. But I honestly don't know what I said to upset you so much. I really wish you would tell me.
You don't need to apologize. You didn't say anything. It's not your fault. It's not anyone's fault. Not really.
Then why?
Please just drop it. I don't want to talk about it.
All right. If that's what you want, I won't push any further.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. Just don't be too hard on yourself, okay? What's that noise?
Alvin, this is bad! Look at the sky!
Huh?
happening to Rena and Lenegis?
It looks like Lenegis is transforming? But into what? What's going on?
How the hell are we supposed to fight the Renans if they're packing that kind of arsenal?
It seems they've broken their silence at last. My concern is that object they've dropped into the water. It's as if they're driving a literal wedge into Dana.
Not just into Dana, but her own resistance too. And what's with that beam of light coming down from above? Got any idea what that could be?
Astral energy.
Are you serious? All of that is astral energy? But that...
It's a lot for sure. Not even all the astral energy harvested by every lord combined compares to that column.
They're trying to squeeze every last bit of energy out of the planet.
But why? I thought they only needed to harvest astral energy as part of the crown contest.
Who cares? If we don't stop it now, the whole of Dana is going to be hollowed into oblivion!
Oblivion.
Do you think that red woman is behind this?
It certainly wouldn't surprise me. Just as the Sovereign, the Maiden, and all 5 Master Cores are gathered in one location, she appears out of nowhere bearing a 6th core. She then forces the 2 of you to help her assemble the Renis Alma. Just what kind of person is this woman?
You mean you don't know her?
Pardon?
She was there at your palace, wasn't she? I figured you knew who she was.
Are you saying I should be familiar with this woman?
Well, sure. I remember seeing her with you back at Adelina Palace several times. Everyone in the guard always wondered who she was.
Now that you mention it, I remember seeing her with Balsif too. You saw her, right, Shion? Shion?
Oh, sorry, I drifted off. As far as I remember, the first time I saw her was when we ran into her in Pelagian.
Seriously? How could you two not notice her before? She sticks out like a sore thumb.
I guess I always figured she kept an eye on the lords for the Renin top brass.
You're sure you don't remember ever seeing her before?
I'm certain of it. My memory has never failed me.
But if it's not that, then...
We'll get to the bottom of this later. Right now, that wedge is a bigger concern.
Well, what are we gonna do then? We're not gonna be able to leave Ganeth Haros until we come up with a plan, right?
Cyslodia lies beyond the northern mountain range.
Yeah, but we haven't found a single route through those mountains while we've been here. And we haven't gotten clues from any of the freed locals either.
Surely there must be a way through. This realm can't have been completely isolated from the rest of the outside world for 300 years. Volron may have simply sealed and hidden it.
Okay, then let's try asking the townspeople again if they know anything. Who knows? We might have missed something the first time around.
Sounds good to me. Better that than trying to build a boat from scratch. Let's start searching.
Armored soldiers!
Some of Volron's former guards.
Let's take them out quick before things get messy.
All glory unto Volron!
Lay down your arms, and no one has to get hurt.
Silence! Traitors like you shall never walk free!
I knew you were stubborn, but you don't have to be so damn dramatic. Think I was
Glacier Spear! Piercing! Raging Storm! Alright, Blade! Arch Steel!
Demon Fang!
Do it! Gemini, this ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
What's with the hole here? Is that supposed to be their hideout?
It doesn't look like it's freshly dug, whatever it is. Maybe it's the entrance to a path to Cyslodia. Everything all right?
Hmm? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Let's go.
You've noticed it, haven't you?
Notice what?
I'm referring to Shion.
I never thought you, of all people, would come to me about her.
Yes, well, What concerns me has more to do with what machinations may be currently unfolding in secret on Lenegis as we make our way along this tunnel.
And you're saying it's related to Shion in some way?
Perhaps. She believed there was a good possibility that the Renis Alma may free her from her thorns. One would think after losing the Renis Alma, she would be more dismayed, and yet she isn't. Why? There's also the matter of the power that she inherited from...
You heard what she said. She didn't know about the Maiden's power.
Mere ignorance does not preclude her deep connection to the events unfolding around us. You recall when her thorns went rampant in Castle Delpharis. I've never seen dark astral energy manifest in such a way.
I thought you said all Renans had dark astral energy inside of them.
Correct. However, what Shion exhibited was far beyond what any ordinary citizen could ever possibly possess. And let me be clear. I do not intend to cast doubt on Shion or her motives. Nevertheless, I cannot shake the feeling that there's more to all of this than what we currently know. Do you disagree?
How much do they have to steal from us to be satisfied?
What's that thing's purpose, anyway? Some kind of siphon that sends the astral energy the Lords harvested to Lenegis?
Not as far as I'm aware. That said, it has become evident since the forming of the Renis Alma, as well as other recent events, that my insight may be... thin. I would, as I believe the saying goes, take what I say with a grain of salt.
No, Halim.
At the very least, I believe we can assume that whoever is pulling the strings behind the scenes has had this in the works for quite some time.
Why's that?
The people on Lenegis may have plenty of resources at their disposal, but not even they could prepare something like that in a mere month. Something of that magnitude takes considerable time, as well as a predetermined goal in mind.
Then what was the crown contest for?
At this stage, I think it was but one step in the greater scheme we see unfolding before us. What that scheme is exactly, I haven't a clue. For now, I believe we should keep moving. The path continues. It's quite possible it will take us all the way to Cislodia.
Agreed. Let's keep moving.
We made it to Cislodia.
We need to get that bridge down somehow.
It looks like we can control it from our side. Let's take a closer look.
Are you okay, Law?
Oh, fine. Just thinking. The past is a real downer. That's why I'm focused on what's ahead of me. You?
Yeah. I'm going to stay the path. As long as we're all together, I know we'll be all right.
Same here. Now let's get moving.
Stop! Who goes there?
My name is Alphen. We're not your enemies.
Did you say Alphen? Slap me silly, it really is you!
Forgetting someone?
Rinwell! Oh, glad to see you're doing okay.
What are you guys doing out here?
We're patrolling the realm. Never thought I'd bump into you all on my rounds, though. Heck, enough of me, though. What's going on up in the sky? Feels like the world's gonna end.
That's what we're trying to figure out ourselves. And as it happens, I've got a big favor to ask.
I had an inkling that's why you'd come back. As soon as I saw you in the distance. So you beat all the lords, huh? Damn, you really must be a hero.
I just did what I had to. So can you send anybody to help Ganeth Heros?
I think we can help out. I'll hit up the other resistance groups and rustle up some support. I doubt they'll have a problem sending people once I mention it's you who's asking.
Thanks. If you guys can help out, that'll give us a chance to do something about that wedge out in the ocean.
Yeah, I think that's something only you guys can handle. Speaking of which, that thing's out in the middle of the ocean. How do you even plan on reaching it?
By boat. We're about to go look for one.
No rest for the weary, I see. Hey, what happened to that mask you used to wear?
It's a long story. Let's just say I lost it.
Well, if it ain't the Blazing Sword and his merry crew.
Mahavar? I can't believe you're still alive.
Course I am. If you landlubbers can make it out of that sinking ship alive, ain't no reason an old sea dog like me wouldn't too.
Yeah, but that wave hit hard. I'm glad to see you're okay. Sorry we put you in so much danger back there.
All water under the bridge at this point. You helped make one of my life's dreams come true. The ship, on the other hand, she took a bit of a beating, though, I'll admit.
Really? What happened to it? It looks fine to me on the outside.
She's fine now, but she was in rough shape when I made it back here. Engine chamber gave up the ghost. Without a lot of options, I decided to talk to the head honcho of the Dark Wings and see if he could help at all. And wouldn't you know it, Crazy Fool sent over Renan engineers to help. Can you believe it?
Renan?
Yep. Said they came from Menancia. They were real professionals. Did what they needed to and didn't give me guff or anything. I was damn near floored.
So they did the work themselves. Good on them.
Well, they did a bang-up job, because she's better than ever now. Speaking of which, I take it she's why you're here?
Yes. We need to get out on the ocean, and fast. When can we set sail?
Give the man a minute to think it over, Alphen. He hasn't even said yes yet.
It's all right, little lady. I'm a man of the sea. I'll gladly help. Hop aboard, folks.
This thing already looked plenty huge from afar. Seeing it up close makes it really hit home.
I didn't expect the journey to go so smoothly. I figured the Renans would send something to sink us.
Maybe they didn't think we had the nerve to come.
Somehow I kinda doubt that.
It's entirely possible they don't see us as a threat.
What do you mean?
That they think they're beyond our reach. Still, this structure is quite the unusual sight. Truth be told, never seen anything like it.
You're right. It doesn't look like the buildings on Lenegis at all. Or like any Renan structure for that matter.
It's weird. It doesn't feel like the kind of thing that has people inside either. Yeah, it's definitely something creepy. What the hell is it even made of?
I don't know. It's not mechanical or biological, but it's definitely alive in some way.
Shion?
I'm okay. It's nothing.
Well, what do we do now?
We have to stop this thing from siphoning off all of Dana's astral energy. That means finding the core and smashing it to bits.
Okay, but look at the size of it. I don't know if we'll find the core just wandering around.
Good point. Can anyone get a read on the astral energy around us? Any kind of a sign?
There's a rather enormous flow of energy moving directly upwards. If we wish to follow it, we'll have to do some climbing.
Rinwell?
Over there?
Hey, what's up with you?
You okay? What happened?
I'm not sure. When I was reaching out to the astral energy, I thought I heard a voice.
A voice?
Yeah. I couldn't make out any words, but it sounded like it wanted me to come to it.
This seems like a trap, right?
It's not a trap.
How can you tell?
Listen, I don't know why, but when it spoke to me, I knew it wasn't hostile.
What do you think?
It could well be a trap. However, it's also our only real option short of wandering aimlessly about.
Let's trust Rinwell on this.
You sure?
Yeah.
It beats the alternative, I guess. What did I say? Sheesh, it's like walking on eggshells around here.
Sometimes you have to choose your words more carefully, Law.
Huh? Oh, right.
Here?
It's here?
Yes. All the energy flowing through the wedge comes together and collects here.
Is that thing a Zoogle? Holy crap, it's huge!
A central core and a guardian?
Once we beat that thing, it'll stop the wedge from taking in any more astral energy, right?
It seems we're in for a fight regardless.
Here it comes. Stay sharp, everyone!
Is there no end to what the Renans can cook up?
I don't know if that's machine or what, but I do.
Here's the evil!
Take it! You're finished! Double Demon Fang!
Radiant, look here! I'm out of ammo! Watch them!
Ruin!
There!
Here I come!
In a bind?
Double Demon Fang!
There!
On your knees.
I'm illuminate the dark! You got some many!
Resonate with the earth! The flame inside me yearns to be let free!
Oh, violent darting wind!
Double Demon Fang!
On your knees.
Double
That's my cue!
Shut him down!
Armor won't save you!
Here's a healing arc!
Double Demon Fang!
Dragon Form! Elusive deity!
Illuminate the dark!
Hitting Pile Driver!
Double Demon Fang!
Holy land!
Dragon Form!
Complete focus!
Begin!
I'm on a roll!
Double Demon Fang!
Here I come with the earth!
Dragon
This is amazing! Not long to go now.
We couldn't have done it without you, Rinwell.
Hey! Come on! Let's you and me get in there and finish this fight!
Escape!
Yes, it's a win!
Dragon Form!
Primed and ready! Where are you going?
Take
Not on my watch!
Armor won't save you!
Do it!
Look sharp!
Lightning Tiger ready!
Is it over?
What the hell is going on?
Stay back!
Are you okay? Hey, are you crying?
I'm not the only one.
I heard it. Whatever it was, I heard it.
As did I. I'm not sure I'd call it a voice, but it was there. What in the world just happened?
That was Dana's astral energy we just encountered. And I think what we heard might have been its voice?
You're saying astral energy has a mind of its own?
I haven't the slightest idea. But do you remember what happened when we fought Balseph back in Calaglia?
You mean when that fire monster came out of the spirit vessel?
Exactly. There was such a huge overflow of astral energy, it caused a monster to spawn and take physical form. Maybe the same thing happened here, just with way more astral energy and a bigger monster.
Does that mean if you gather enough astral energy, it can become sentient or take a physical form?
That's what I'm guessing, but it's just speculation. Master Cores are able to hold a lot more energy than a spirit vessel, but we still haven't seen anything like that happen in our dealings with them.
That being said, there may be a mechanism of sorts inside Master Cores and spirit vessels that prevents such reactions.
That fire monster. I remember how it only appeared after Balsef's spirit vessel broke.
Then the reason Rinwell was able to sense all that astral energy earlier must have been because it was too much for that Zoogle to contain by itself.
So, then where do you think the Zoogle went? All that energy and poof, it's gone. The Zoogle with it. Doesn't that sound weird to anyone?
Indeed it does. However, in order for us to move our hypothesis forward, we will need to gather more evidence first. On that note, how are you holding up, Rinwell?
I just can't work out why. Why the voice reached out to me first.
Rinwell?
I can't help but wonder if it's because of my heritage that I was the one to hear it. Sorry. That's a strange thing to think, isn't it? Anyway, we should get going, right? We need to make sure the energy flow has actually stopped.
It looks like that beam of light has stopped.
Then is it safe to say we've avoided oblivion for the time being?
I can still sense a faint glimmer of energy, though. It hasn't completely dispersed.
You can tell?
Rinwell, your senses seem a lot sharper than before, don't they?
And you said you heard that voice, right?
I guess. Maybe. I don't know. I don't feel bad, though.
If trace amounts, however small, do remain, then it leaves us no choice. We must destroy the entire structure.
What do you suggest? We bring it down piece by piece?
Once that's done, what do we do then?
We go to Lenegis. Even if we could destroy the whole wedge like he suggested, it'd only buy us time. The fact they sent this thing down tells me they're not giving up this planet without a fight.
There's also the matter of the Renis Alma. Its circumstances still have yet to be truly resolved.
But how do we even get to Lenegis?
What if we hotwire one of their starships? There's gotta be one on the planet somewhere, right?
Starships are only seen on Dana at the start and end of the Crown Contest. Otherwise, they remain on Lenegis. Believe it or not, we Renans down here aren't quite as free to come and go as one might think.
Great. Well, I'm out of ideas then. We definitely don't have the tech to build a starship. And even if we found a Renin who'd help, who knows how long that'd take?
Yeah, waiting for a starship to come down from Lenegis would probably be quicker than that.
Wait. Alphen, when you came down from Lenegis, it had to have been in a starship of your own, right?
Right. Oh, of course.
You can't be serious. That was 300 years ago. There's no way it's still gonna work.
But Alphen didn't wake up until a few years ago. That means it had to have still been functioning that whole time to keep his body preserved.
Indeed. You wouldn't happen to remember where you landed, would you?
My memories around where I parked are still a little hazy, but I do know that I woke up in Calaglia, so chances are it's still in the area. At least it's a place to start. Luckily, that realm's my old stomping ground, so I should be able to get us some help finding her. Our first port of call is Ulzebek.
Back where you first started out.
Yeah, along with my dad.
You okay? You don't look so good.
I think I'm just a little seasick, that's all.
Liar.
Huh?
You heard me. You've never been good at hiding your emotions, Shion.
Excuse me? Just what do you... No. You're right. I'm sorry.
Is it about Alphen?
No. Not just him.
Something you can't talk about?
Rinwell, I'm not like the rest of you.
Of course you are! No, I'm serious. Back when we first met, I think maybe then I did think we were different. But now I know that isn't true. You and I are the same, Shion. We're alike in more ways than you know. If any of us is different, it's me. I'm a Danon who can use magic. I may be the last. My family and I have been living in hiding as long as I can remember.
Everyone has their own pain that can be hard for other people to understand.
I saw the two of you talking and thought you could use a third wheel. So, here I am. Sorry.
If anyone's the odd one out here, it's me. Believe me, you don't want to listen to my problems.
Want me to go?
I didn't say that.
I get that you must have a lot circling around that head of yours. And that's okay. Whatever's worrying you right now, you're allowed to worry about it. And you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. I know I'm not a Renin like you, or a mage like Rinwell.
I'm not a sovereign, maiden, or lord. I'm just a Danon who used to be a slave.
But regardless of all that, I'm here for you, Shion.
That goes for me too. We all want to be there for you. Me and Hootle and even the boys. I promise. I mean, that is what friends are supposed to do, right?
I said this to Alphen, and now I'll say it to you. You're not alone in this.
Thank you. Rinwell. Kisara.
And right on cue, I think I should make my way back and lie down for a bit. My battle with this ship continues.
Yeah, I better head back too. We wouldn't want the guys thinking they're in charge. Can you imagine Law at the helm? Who knows what kind of trouble we'd get into?
Still, if that's true, then it's all the more reason I have to do this.
Oh, just one thing after another, and it all falls on my head too.
Hey, Nath.
What? Can't you see I'm... Alphen?
Looks like you have your hands full.
As much as ever. As if I wasn't busy enough putting down the last remnants of Renin rule, I'm up to my ears in Danon disputes. And then, to top it all off, that thing had to come crashing down from out of the sky.
Pretty sure we've heard this somewhere before.
But enough about my problems. What can I help you with?
Yeah, we're looking for an old Renin starship. You wouldn't happen to know any around these parts, would you?
A starship? What do you need one of those for?
To get to Lenegis.
Lenegis? Are you out of your damn mind?
Believe it or not, it wouldn't be the craziest thing we've done recently.
Well, I believe it. Well, either way, I'm afraid I haven't heard anything about a starship.
Then do you have any historical records by chance?
Sure, we've got stacks of old records.
Mind if we take a look at them?
Yeah, okay.
Thanks, Nath.
I read through all of the records, but I only found a single line that might point to what we're looking for. It mentions a rock that shot across the sky and landed past the mountains. The event was recorded just before the first Renin invasion.
And you think that might be the starship?
I don't know. There was nothing else in the records that came even close. It looked like it was someplace called Berg, but maybe I'm reading it wrong.
Berg?
That ring any bells for you?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest volcanoes in Calaglia. I was just there recently, investigating a report of a meteor someone saw.
Another meteor in the same area? Really?
I wonder if it could have been one of those lights that shot out of the wedge.
All the more reason to check it out. Can you tell us how to get there?
The old Zion mine is up that way. One of the veins we abandoned connects to the volcano. Go ahead and use that. But you should be careful.
Huh?
I don't know if it has anything to do with the meteor. But there's a giant Zoogle running riot in there. Never seen anything like it.
A Zoogle, huh?
Well, I turned back as soon as I caught sight of the thing, so I can't tell you much more. Just be real careful if you head out that way.
hell is that thing?
Probably that monster Nath warned us about, if I had to guess.
Do you think this might have been where one of those lights that shot out of the wedge landed?
But why this location? If the purpose of the wedge is to harvest Dana's astral energy.
We can figure that out later. If that thing gets into town, it's going to cause chaos. We need to take it down and move on. Let's go!
Alphen!
Watch and learn! That's enough! Go back down! Everyone okay?
Yeah, I think so.
That thing scared the pants off me.
It felt like it had a different aura than other Zeugles, didn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't like the one that Almadria sicked on us either.
Its elemental astral energy variance was out of this world. It was like fighting a lord.
I guess it's safe to assume that if it came out of the wedge, it must have played some part in helping harvest astral energy. But what?
Perhaps a living spirit vessel? It's plausible, given the location. Or it may be part of a new force dispatched to regain control of Dana.
If we assume that monster was one of the 4 beams of light, we must have prevented something from taking place here.
I'd like to think so, knowing how much grief it gave us. But at least with that out of the way, we can keep moving forward now. Let's go.
Alphen?
Did you remember something?
No, but I have seen this starship before. This is it. This is the ship I traveled in when I escaped from Lenegis.
Three centuries later, and it's no worse for wear. I'll take a look at the internals.
Damn! I'm amazed it still works at all after all this time.
The past meets the present. I really am from a different time and place.
Yeah, but you've got us now, Alphen.
Not only that, but you've helped out so many people, too.
Law's right. Rinwell too. You're one of us now. No more carrying the weight of history on your shoulders. You're a part of this world.
Right. Thanks, you guys.
How's it look?
It should fly. All internal systems seem to be operating. However, considering how long it's remained inactive, I suspect it will take some time before it's ready for takeoff.
How much time are we talking here?
Starship mechanics are not what I'd call my forte, so I'd rather not hazard a guess.
So we've just got to sit around here and wait? I'm terrible at waiting.
That's because you're a child. Oh, but how about we use this time to prepare and gather supplies for the trip?
Good idea. Who knows when we'll be back from Lenegis once we leave. We should prepare ourselves for every possible scenario before we go.
Let's try not to stay away too long. I'd hate for anything to happen to the place while we're gone.
Either we race ahead, or we take due precaution to ensure we have no regrets. I shall leave it up to you as to how we proceed, Alphen.
Works for me.
It's funny, isn't it?
What is?
All this. when we first started this thing, did you ever imagine we'd be going to Lenegus? After all, this is the sort of thing I was rebelling against when I ran away from home, right?
I'm sure Zephyr would be proud if he knew what his son was doing right now.
And a little shocked, too.
We're defying the order of things that have persisted for 300 years. Deep down, I knew our journey would lead to confronting Lenegus.
Yeah, you maybe, but you're a Renan. The rest of us can barely even picture what it means to leave Dana.
No offense to Shion and Dohalim, but it's worth remembering we're heading into enemy territory.
No offense taken, and this is no picnic for me either.
Remember, our aim is to ensure that both Lenegus and the Renan homeworld leave Dana alone for good. I don't think we'll be able to avoid a fight.
Is there no way we can talk them into leaving us alone?
The people of Lenegus?
Sure. I mean, we found a way to make it work with Shion and Dohalim, right? And it's not just us. If places like Menancia can do it, then why can't we?
Because there are still many of my kind who believe it was right and natural that Rena reigns over Dana. There are those on Lenegus who have never stepped foot on Dana. I doubt whether they'd even listen to Danans.
Look, none of us want to fight. But these are the same people who fired that wedge down on Dana. What happens next is on them.
Right. We're not going to sit back and wait for them to oppress us again.
Right.
Don't forget, there's also a good chance the Red Woman is somewhere on Lenegus. And wherever she is, we should find the Renaissance too.
That's right. If we can take it back, then Shion can finally get rid of her thorns. Shion?
Huh? Yeah.
Where? Shion? Shion. Shion! It's your thorns? But why? You okay? Just now, it looked like you used your maiden powers to suppress your thorns. You can really do that?
Stay out of my way.
Wait a second. Are you planning to go alone?
Shut up!
Why would you do this?
I told you to shut up!
I won't let you.
I mean it.
I refuse to let you.
I won't tell you again. Move or I'll shoot.
If that's the case, then go ahead and shoot me!
Do you remember back when I was stabbed? By Rolron?
Yeah.
I thought for sure that he had killed you back there.
That wasn't the first time. The first time was when I was only a child. After that, no matter how often, I just couldn't die.
Couldn't die? So you're immortal? How's that even...
I believe you, Shion. But tell me how is something like that possible?
My thorns. They're me, but at the same time not. They're part of me. I have no idea why, but my thorns will never let me die. At least not before I'm meant to.
You can't die before your death?
When my thorns free themselves, it will be my death. I've seen it. A darkness that swallows up everything until nothing remains. It's a vision of oblivion I can't escape. I want to believe it's all just a bad dream. But no matter what I tell myself, I know it's not.
Yeah, but you... Wait. The whole reason you needed the Renaissance was to get rid of your thorns, right?
If I burn away what's inside, then what will happen to the rest of me? Right. Either way you look at it, I'm going to die. But if I am going to die, I figure I can at least take my thorns out with me. That's what I've been after this whole time.
That's why you turned your back on your fellow Renans and chose to fight with us, isn't it? And while we've all been fighting to keep on living, you have been with us fighting desperately to die.
That was the plan. But then I met all of you. And before I knew it, I didn't want to die anymore.
Shion, don't lose hope yet. We'll find a way to save you. There's still time to.
It's pointless.
Why?
Because the darkness won't just consume me. The truth is, it will consume all of existence as well. It was only a suspicion at first, but ever since the Red Woman triggered my maiden powers, I've been more certain than ever before. It was then that I finally came to realize my powers were holding my thorns in check the entire time. But they don't anymore. Not since Lenegus, when the wedge fell. Every day, I feel the thorn's power growing stronger inside of me. Pretty soon, I won't be able to hold them back anymore. And when that happens,
They will consume all existence.
And that's why you wanted to leave by yourself. You planned to find the Renaissance on your own and sacrifice yourself to stop the thorns.
But that's... too much. It's way too much.
when this all began, I didn't care what happened to me or anyone else. And what happened to the Renans or the Danans didn't matter to me at all. I know I have to die, but I don't want to. Not now that I have this. I wish we had never met. Then I wouldn't have to feel this way.
Shion!
Alvin?
Living for the sake of dying is no better than being a slave. How can you endure this?
Alvin.
It's not fair.
I don't care what anybody says. I won't let it happen! We can fight this! We'll fight until the end together. Isn't that what you said to me before?
Even if it should mean that it'll be the end of everything else, too?
Shion, what do you want? It's your decision, ultimately. But if you decide not to fight fate, I will. Even if I have to do it alone.
No, you won't be alone. I'll fight as well.
Count me in as well. I want to be a force for good, not hate.
And me too. I meant it with all of my heart when I told you before. Neither of you are alone in this at all.
You guys...
And I, for one, don't believe this venture is without hope.
Huh?
Shion is the descendant of a maiden from 300 years ago. Given the circumstances, it seems very likely that those events have some connection to her thorns. The true nature of which, I imagine we will discover as we make our way to Lenegis and uncover the truth of what's unfolding here.
I take it you mean we might find a way to get rid of her thorns and she'll live?
It's certainly possible. Though I suspect the nature of the Sovereign is connected somehow.
So be it. I've already lost everything I had once. And I won't let it happen again. Shion. No matter what happens from now on, we're right here with you. All of us are. You are not alone.
You guys... You're all so stubborn. Thank you, everyone. For right now, and a little while longer, I just want to hold on to this dream. And most of all, more than anything else, I want to be with all of you. So let's go. On to Lenegis.
The end of the world. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
I believe Shion is telling the truth. What about you?
As a friend, yes, I want to believe her. Everything that's happened seems to point towards some sort of great danger that's lurking ahead of us. Still, it's hard to fathom something that could usher outright doom to the world. That those really are the stakes we face.
No, I understand. Even Shion doesn't seem to know exactly what will happen to bring it all about.
We have so many pieces of the puzzle in our hands, so many clues, yet the complete picture eludes us.
So where do her thorns fit in then?
Well, I imagine they must sit at the very center of it all. You remember the voice we all heard while we were inside the wedge, don't you?
Yeah, I remember. It was the will of Dana's astral energy come to life. Well, that's what we all thought.
Right. And from that, we're able to hypothesize how vast concentrations of astral energy can become sentient. Let's return to when we found Shion in Pelegion. When her thorns went wild, they contained far more astral energy than any mere Renin would normally have inside them.
So you think those thorns might be alive too? That their will is what keeps her from dying? But why would they want to destroy the entire world?
As for that, I really cannot say for certain. Its goals still remain a mystery. It may be a mere fluke that her maiden powers have been able to contain it thus far.
You know, I've noticed since we've met that you like figuring out riddles.
Can you blame me? When one realizes that the world they once thought to be true is but a mere facade, they can't help but seek the truth. Especially when that deception has led to others getting hurt.
Dohalim?
I imagine the remaining pieces of the puzzle that we seek rest somewhere within Lenegis. As for what the final picture will look like, who can say? I think it's best we not dwell on it too much for the time being.
Right.
How you holding up?
Who, me?
Yes, you. You took a hit from those thorns again, didn't you?
Oh, that? That was nothing.
Compared to what Shion's going through, you mean? Still, even if you yourself might be willing to endure that kind of pain, that doesn't mean Shion wants to have to see you get hurt by her thorns, you know?
Yeah, I know. I'll be careful.
Shion doesn't know how lucky she is to have you around, you know? Dashing in to save her at the last minute.
Yeah, very funny.
I'm being serious. You went up and held her close like you still had that mask on, and you didn't even bat an eye. She really needed that. That's what I mean when I said you saved her. Just like you did with the rest of us.
I just want for Shion what we all have. The ability to touch someone without the fear of killing them. Those thorns have robbed her of the kind of everyday things we all take for granted. And it's not right.
You can say that again. It may be normal for us, but that doesn't make it any less special or important for her. I hope she gets what she wants. I have my own dreams, but a world without her, where she dies so we can all survive, isn't a world I want to live in.
Agreed. It's like more and more keeps getting taken from her, and I'm done with it. Can't sleep?
After everything we just heard, how could I?
Fair enough.
Shion's had to deal with so much on her own. Even when we were all laughing and celebrating, she just kept quiet and didn't say anything. I thought she was keeping her distance because of her thorns. That it was because she didn't want to hurt anybody by getting too close. I just figured that that was the type of person she was, you know? But it turned out to be none of that. All this time, she felt like she had to die and sacrifice herself for the greater good. But even then, she didn't think she could say anything to us about it.
I know.
She was so alone this entire time. How could I call her a friend and yet be so completely blind to everything she was going through?
I'm sure it made her happy, knowing you were there for her.
You really think so?
Yeah, I do. If she didn't think of us as friends, I don't think she could have ever opened up to us like that. You were a good friend to her before, and you'll be an even better one now.
Yeah, I really hope so. I want to be the best I can for her. When you think about it, we were all alone in our own way. But over time, we've all found ways to let each other into our lives. I hope Shion's able to do that one day too. No, I mean, I hope she's able to do that more. Lots and lots more. I think it'd be really nice if we could all just be there to support each other when it really counts. And forget about our grudges and pain.
Rinwell.
Did you know?
You mean about Shion?
Yeah, I didn't have the slightest idea. I mean, every once in a while I thought something seemed a little off, but I never could have imagined. It's like a completely different world was spinning around me and I couldn't even see it.
You and me both. I mean, I knew something was bothering her, but I could never quite figure out what it was.
You? But you're the one always looking out for her, aren't you?
That's what I thought. But in reality, I didn't understand it all. What I thought was helping and being there for her was actually just driving her into a corner.
At least you figured it out in time, though, right?
I don't think we're out of the woods yet. But yeah, you're right. We brought her back from the edge, and we're going to stop those thorns from taking her. No matter what.
Yeah, with all of us together, there's nothing we can't handle. Shion, the world, we can save everyone. And I mean it when I say we, Alphen.
I know. No lone wolfing it.
Hey, You're the expert on what my dad would say. Do you think he'd pat me on the back or tell me off?
Zephyr, I don't think that he'd have that much to say, to be honest. You're your own man now, Law. And you've already made up your own mind about what you want.
I guess he couldn't say anything even if he wanted to.
Law.
Sorry. I guess those of us amongst the living have enough problems to deal with, don't we? We'll need all our strength to save Shion. I'll probably end up worrying again at some point, but I guess I'll think it over more then. That okay?
Yeah, I think it is. Hey, you doing all right?
I seem to cause nothing but worry. As much as I try to look like I have things under control, everyone still worries about me.
You're not the only one.
Hey, do you remember the first time you said I was your friend?
No? When was that? Sorry, I can't remember.
That's okay. It came so naturally to you, I'm not surprised you forgot. I was different back then. The Danans were not even people to me, and I knew I would always be alone. But in that room with Deadeye, when you called me your friend, it just shattered the wall that I'd built up around me. Because until that moment, I'd only seen you as a means to an end. I thought of you as a way to use the blazing sword, and to obtain the Renis Alma. But after that day, one time became two, and before I knew it, you'd made a habit of calling me and Dohalim your friends. It didn't matter that we were Renins. You cared about us as you would any other people. Then, everyone else started to call me their friend too, to think of me as their friend. Before then, I never even dreamed I could have that. I didn't want to die and lose you all. But I also didn't want to live if it meant you would all die in my place.
Shion.
But then I realized I'd only really been thinking of myself that entire time. After saying how I felt, and hearing what you all had to say, I finally understood that. Don't worry, it's okay. I'm not planning on dying anymore. I've met too many people along the way who I truly care about to give in now. So I'll fight. For Dana and for myself. I'll fight against my fate to preserve our future. And I'll win, come hell or high water. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I won't let the world end because of me.
It's going to be a long, hard road ahead, Shion. Our fight won't be over until everyone, both Danans and Renins, can finally live in peace. But I swear I'll be there with you until the very end.
Thank you.
Remember what we learned back in Calaglia? There's no wall so high that we can't break it down.
Yeah, I think you may be right about that.
Well, it's the moment of truth.
This lady better hold together once we're up in the air.
Law, don't say that! You're going to jinx us!
Speaking of which, Alphen, this bucket of bolts got a name?
A name? You know, I'm not sure she ever had one. I never really thought about it.
Well, after all the trouble we went through to find her, we should give her one, right? I was thinking something like...
Fall Nights.
Huh?
It means owl in the ancient tongue. Literally, the one drawn to the skies.
I like it. Sounds perfect for our little escapade.
Not sure I'm completely convinced, but... well, it's as good a name as any. From now on, she'll be known as the Fall Knights.
Okay, people. We have two goals. First, we need to get to Lenegis and make the Renans finally leave Dana alone. And then, we need to figure out the truth behind Shion's thorns and find a way to save her. Sound good? All right, then let's go.
You know, I can still hardly believe it.
Believe what?
I mean, just look at it. The whole of existence, crammed inside a tiny frame.
Now that you mention it, I guess you're right. It does look more like a painting than a living, breathing world.
From up here, all the struggles we've been through feel so insignificant.
Nothing like realizing how small you are to put everything into perspective. Kinda makes the differences between the Renans and the Danans feel pretty small too, huh?
How much longer until we reach Lenegis?
There are better ways to use your time than napping. We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on board before arrival.
Good idea. The starship may end up serving as our base of operations once we're down there. Think you'll be all right with the controls?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot? I dare say I'll manage. I'm basically just here to supervise.
In that case, she's all yours. Is something wrong?
No. I was merely thinking how it had been 7 years, that's all.
You mean since you became a lord and left Lenegis? I guess even someone like you can get homesick, huh?
I am as prone to sentimentality as any other. Tell me, though, you too have a history with Lenegis. A traumatic one, no less. This trip will probably mean facing up to some difficult emotions. Doesn't that frighten you?
Well, it is a place where I took the lives of countless people. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it. But I can't keep running forever. The past is what it is. There's no changing that. But the future's what we make it.
I see.
Dohalim?
Forgive me. I was wrong to pry. We have more pressing matters to address. Come back and speak to me when you finish looking around the ship.
We'll be going to Lenegis soon.
This must feel like a homecoming of sorts to you, huh? What was life on Lenegis like back then? You know, before you came to Dana.
Let's just say, I don't have many happy memories. I've had thorns my whole life, for as long as I can remember. They called it treatment, but in truth, they were just using me as a guinea pig for their research.
You mean, they experimented on you?
That's right. All I was to them was a riddle to solve. They poked and prodded me, trying to figure out what triggered my thorns or changed the form they took. Day in and day out, every single day, one test after another. I'm still surprised they didn't try to dissect me. The look they gave me whenever one of them touched my skin. How could I forget it? Reeling from the pain, like I was a monster or something. Some existence, huh? A blight on any I touched, helplessly complicit in their pain. I thought things couldn't get any worse, but then they did. I started to have nightmares, visions of the coming apocalypse. Is it any wonder I lacked a cheery disposition? Unable to so much as touch another soul. Loneliness was my best friend. Sure, I survived, but with the knowledge that one day I'd be swallowed up by oblivion. And that's when it hit me. If I was going to die, then it should mean something. If I have to sacrifice myself to save the world, so be it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you relive that.
No, it's fine. I'm in a much better place now.
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live. But why not the other way around? Why shouldn't we be the ones dying to save you?
Are you crazy? Why would you sacrifice your life for...
That's exactly my point. Why should you have to give up your life just because you drew the short straw in the destiny stakes? How is that even right? It's that logic that's used to justify slavery, as if some of us were just meant to be sacrificed. This struggle was never about saving only ourselves. But that doesn't mean we have to give up our own lives to save everyone else's either. If we're doing this to protect people, if we're doing this to save the world from destruction, then that has to include saving each other as well.
A world free of sacrifice. That's what you've been fighting for all along, isn't it?
Not just me. We're in this together, remember? This fight is yours too, Xion. If we're going to win, everyone has to win. There can be no room for losers in this fight. Now I see it, the true nature of our struggle.
A victory without losers. But that means that a Dahnan victory over Rena can't be the end. Do you think we can pull it off?
You bet we can pull it off. We have to. It's the only hope we have of things ever changing.
Yeah, you're right. No one's ever changed the future without aiming for the stars. We can do this. Together.
Hey, Alphen, listen to this! So Law and I were just talking and...
Hey, shut up!
What's got Law all flustered?
Only that he's afraid of flying, the big baby. And after all that fuss he made about naming the ship, too.
Hey, I never said I was scared. I just think it's, a little unsettling how we're going to be cruising through space in a glorified tin can. That's all.
It's a starship, dummy. That's what it's supposed to do. I don't think there's anything strange about it.
Well, maybe you're the one with the problem then.
Guys. I'm no expert, but I think we can trust Renan technology. It got me to Dahna in one piece, remember?
Oh, that's a good point. If you think so, Alphen, it must be okay. Don't you agree, Law?
Hard to argue with that, seeing how you hitched a ride in one of these things before, Alphen. It's just wrong, okay?
You okay? Feeling airsick?
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all. These starships are a remarkably smooth ride, all things considered. Nothing like being at sea, thank goodness.
Glad to hear it. That device there caught your eye, huh?
I was just wondering what it is. It looks big enough to fit a person inside of it.
It's a healing pod. It fixes injuries and illnesses.
Oh, you don't say. That should definitely come in handy if any of us get injured while we're down there. Alphen? Was it something I said?
No, I was just thinking back to when I escaped Lenegis, that's all. What with the ceremony and losing control, I was a total mess. Naori laid me inside here.
So, you're saying you got in this thing straight after escaping? But that mean... you were inside for 300 years?
Yes, it sounds crazy, I know. But don't even ask me why I stayed asleep all that time.
That's definitely quite some lie-in, all right. But still, whether you meant to or not, I sure am glad that it's this century that you finally woke up in.
What do you mean?
With the amount of fighting we've done, we would have never made it this far without you. And not only that, but... Alphen, can you recall back to what it is that I said to you? Back when we left Menancia? About the dream of coexistence, and needing to learn what it entailed?
Of course. That's why you came with us, right? To learn what you couldn't at home.
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was a lie. But at the same time, I also felt really compelled to fulfill my brother's wishes. I'll always remember him fondly. But the coexistence we're fighting for isn't for him. It's for people now, and those still to come. The world's bigger than just Menancia. My dream is for all Dahnans, wherever they might be, to be free. If I've learned anything on this journey, it's that. And the one who brought me along was you, Alphen. I'll forever be grateful to you.
Well, we're not out of this forest just yet. You should probably save your thanks. At least, until we've dealt with the Red Woman.
I know. But whatever we find when we get down there, I'm through looking the other way.
Kisara.
Probably getting a little ahead of myself, huh? Let's take things one step at a time.
Is everyone about ready? We'll soon be making preparations to land.
Before we do that, just what exactly should we expect when we get down there?
Kisara has a point. Now that I think of it, I don't know the first thing about Lenegis.
I'd like to hear more too. It's been centuries since I was last there, and they didn't exactly give me the grand tour.
Very well. First and foremost, Lenegis was the base of operations in charge of the crown contest on Dana. Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right, complete with its own independent society. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual's astral arts carries great weight.
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right? So people's positions are fixed at birth.
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. But yes, that's basically the gist. As a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield disproportionate influence, and those lineages are treated as nobility.
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass, denied the right to descend to Dana even if they wanted to. Still, even the lowest rung on the Renin ladder is considered superior to being a Danan. Keep that in mind down there.
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking order, right? What about you, Shion?
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts. You really need to ask?
Fair point.
On arts alone, you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty. But you're forgetting my thorns. They weren't exactly an invitation to high society.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's refreshing to be around someone who says what they're thinking. Life's less complicated that way.
Jeez, give backhanded compliments much?
Wait a second. Are you? He is! Lost blushing!
I am not!
Of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary like arts is discrimination at its worst. As if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure of someone's worth.
So this Red Woman, are we expecting to find her on Lenegis?
I would wager so. Lenegis is too deeply involved in all this to discard the possibility. Chances are she's also connected to the Renis Alma being stolen from us in Pelegion.
If the Renis Alma is being used to exploit Dana, we need to take it back at all costs.
That Red Woman's got a lot to answer for. Just as well I've got a ton of questions.
We're about to land. The descent could be a little bumpy, so brace yourselves.
If there are clues about your thorns out there, Shion, we'll find them. There's no one here. I wasn't expecting a welcome mat, but still.
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed. Don't let your guard down.
I really hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this Red Woman is here, right? And if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too. Any idea where we should start looking?
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the Sovereigns, known as the Forbidden Zone. That seems as good a place as any for us to start.
Forbidden? What are they hiding?
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. Fortunately, we just so happen to have a sovereign in our midst. In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required an immense source of power.
Then you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony 3 centuries ago. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway for it to be held once more, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time, possibly together with the Red Woman. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which case...
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds. Is that it?
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place after all this time.
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Shion's right. Who knows? We might even find a clue to her thorns while we're at it.
All right. It's not like we're swimming in leads, so let's try to track down the Forbidden Zone.
What in the world?
This being Renin territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different. But this is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, it must have had an effect on the interior too.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dana?
But they wouldn't move around the places where people live. These are their homes, right?
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter. Either way, locating the Forbidden Zone just became that much trickier.
Dohalim? Is that you?
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be down on Dana participating in the crown contest? And these people!
So you haven't heard what happened on Dana, then?
Heard what?
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim, don't tell me you've started keeping company with...
They're with me. More importantly, what's happened here?
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift without warning, and now everything looks like this. We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening, but so far...
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone. Do you have any idea where we might find it?
The Forbidden Zone? What business could you possibly have there?
Trust me. The less you know, the better.
You're just the same as ever. I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own home. Let alone the Forbidden Zone.
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the way there ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
Why did you come back? You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same as ever. Fine, I understand. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And take care of yourself, okay, Doe?
So who's Faria?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are being kept in the dark about what's happening down on Dana.
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world. Despite the fact that it's actually here that the wedge originally came from.
We need more information. Let's talk to the citizens, see what we can find out.
While we're at it, we could ask them about the Red Woman, too.
And don't forget about finding the way to the Forbidden Zone either.
Let's leave the talking to Shion. We can't have a bunch of Danins poking their noses around.
Good idea. I think that's for the best.
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis has its advantages.
Right. Then we'll leave it to you two.
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city. Even the Zeugles have stopped heeding our commands. Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it unnecessary for us to know. We have no choice but to grin and bear it. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris? I believed he was on Dana.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First Lenegis mutates beyond recognition, now this unexpected visit. The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. The Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in the latest crown contest.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Your lordship! Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time. Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home, is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dana competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it.
I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
It's worth investigating, at least. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe, I'll come and let you know.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of my lowly status?
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renan, first and foremost.
Oh, why yes, my lord. Thank you.
Well, we've canvassed the city for information. What do you think?
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all. They haven't heard the news about the crown contest either.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here. Has it always been like that?
Not to this extent, which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth, that Lenegis is under some kind of control.
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly okay with it all.
Yeah, that one guy even said Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that's true, these people are in big trouble.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Their belief runs deep. Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's grand plan.
The Sovereign's plan. There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person ruling over Lenegis?
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and Lenegis.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least the same size as Dana? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis alone would be difficult enough.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's total authority is as natural as night turning to day. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself is. Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to the homeland?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of Lenegis has ever been there?
Hold up, what are you getting at, Tohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No one but the Sovereign, that is.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow back and forth, surely.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly. It could be a one-way street.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule directly over Lenegis from so far away? What if something were to happen to the city, like now?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, right? Just before the ceremony. But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler. So which one is it?
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor, before becoming ruler over all of Rena and Lenegis. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign. Though, it would appear that the current ruler has gone silent. As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point, I no longer know what to believe.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became, I was forced to. Me, a Danon. 300 years later, we cross paths with Volron, who also bears the Sovereign's crest. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without winning the crown contest.
Do you think Volron was made Sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
I can't say for sure, but it certainly sounds like it.
But that would mean that 2 Sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganath Haros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman are working together, do you? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems will remain unanswered until we can establish the Sovereign's identity.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off-limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start. For the sake of liberating Dana, too.
Then it's decided. That's where we need to go.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. It could point us in the right direction. Let's go find it!
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current Sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfried Milgras, the former Lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfried whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming Sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegus?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the Sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegus from the motherland, Sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And to what end?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelegion, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renin by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
Doe?
Faria.
Faria? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was—
But why are you here? Wait, don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still—
Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Danon rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
Wow, this place is beautiful!
Yeah. It must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renin sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnagan. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnagan. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnagan and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnagan and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnagan had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnagan was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait, don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less. She would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty. Instead, I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Danans there would still be suffering under Renin oppression like before.
Shion's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim.
You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today.
So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion. I promise he does.
I hope you're right. Those soldiers seem different from the citizens we've come across so far.
Yeah, they weren't big talkers, that's for sure. They just attacked without warning.
They weren't in the least bit fazed by Dohalim's presence either.
Indeed. They seem to recognize us as enemies, nothing more. And yet, traditionally, Lenegis hasn't been high on threats. A few frenzied Zeugles during experiments here and there, but not much else.
Their glazed-over eyes reminded me of the soldiers and slaves we met back in Ganath Haros. The ones in blind devotion to Volron.
I've never seen anything like that here on Lenegis before.
Maybe someone doesn't want us here, and the soldiers are their way of letting us know.
What with the Red Woman, the Sovereign, and Volron, we're starting to develop quite the growing list of adversaries. At least we'll know to keep our wits about us.
This must be it. The entrance to the Forbidden Zone.
But it's just a wall. How do we get through?
Whoa, we? I thought this was Sovereigns only.
Alphen.
Yes! It opened!
Interesting. If Alphen's presence still opens the way, it would seem the Sovereign of 3 centuries ago and now are considered one and the same.
What?
What the?
Alphen.
You again.
Tomorrow's the spirit channeling ceremony. We'll finally play our parts as the Sovereign and Maiden. How have you been feeling?
What am I sovereign of? Shuffled from lab to lab, always treated like an experiment. Whenever they look at me, all they see is a Danon. I don't even know what their precious ceremony's for. Let alone what they're going to force me to do as the Sovereign. Tell me, if we're both in the same boat, why do you seem so calm right now?
No choice. Becoming the Maiden's not something I wanted for myself. But they said Rena's prosperity depended on it. How could I say no after that?
Still, as a Renan, at least you got to decide. Good for you. Meanwhile, I was taken from my homeland. You aren't the captive one here.
It isn't right what they did to you, and I'm sorry for what it's worth. When this is over, I swear I'll help you get home. I can't do this alone. One more day.
How could I say no to that? It's not like I have any choice in the matter anyway. So, what's your name?
It's Naori. Naori Imaris. Try to remember this time.
You don't act like them. Like the other Renans, I mean. How come you treat me like a person?
Because you are. It's true we come from different worlds. But neither one of us asked to be here right now. In that sense, you and I are much the same. We couldn't do this. We wouldn't be able to talk to each other as people if we didn't see the humanity in each other. So I suppose the question you should be asking is, why wouldn't I treat you like one?
You're not like the others.
Maybe they're not like me.
Here's what we'll do. We give them their damn ceremony. You get me to Dana. That'll be the end of it. I'm taking you at your word on this. I'm trusting you, not them. Naori.
What the hell just happened?
That vision. Did everyone else see it too?
That person Alphen was speaking to, she looked exactly like Shion.
It was Naori. Naori Imaris. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right.
She really does look like Shion. I'm beginning to see why Alphen was so confused.
That's all very well and fine, but what did we just witness exactly? It was too real to be a mere hallucination.
It was a conversation we had 300 years ago. The night before the ceremony.
You mean all of that really happened? We just saw an episode straight out of your past?
But how is that even possible? Unless... Could this be the Red Woman's handiwork too?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
You guys didn't feel it? The moment the entrance opened, it was like a stream of Danon astral energy rushing over us.
I felt it too. And not for the first time either. It was the same sensation as back inside the wedge.
That would make sense. After all, vast amounts of Dana's astral energy were being siphoned and sent up here to Lenegus. For all we know, perhaps we're close to the spot where all that energy was stored.
So you think it might have been the energy itself that was responsible for that vision we just saw? But how? And why?
We have no way of knowing. Maybe it's not even as deliberate as all that.
Shion, you okay?
Yeah. It was all just a little sudden. That's all. So that was my ancestor, huh? It was like looking into a mirror.
Yeah, there certainly is a resemblance.
What about you? How are you holding up?
Me?
Even putting aside the question of where that vision came from, it's likely we'll see more of those. Reliving painful episodes from your past. Do you think you can handle it?
I can't just pretend like the past never happened. Besides, if it helps us uncover the truth of what that ceremony really was, it might also lead to answers about your thorns.
Alphen.
That's not all. This whole time, we've been fighting to free Dana from the Renans. But now that we're here, it seems those same Renans might have it just as bad. I'd like to liberate them too if I can. Which is just another reason I can't afford to shield my eyes from the truth.
Whether you're on Dana or somewhere else, you always stay the same. Your indignation and righteous passion, your desire to free and protect, they're all hardwired into you. Not that I'm complaining. Come on, let's bust this thing wide open.
Nobody's here.
Stay sharp. After that last illusion, there's no telling what could happen in here.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got a name?
And what skill would this be, pray tell?
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they suddenly become putty in your hands.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow.
I do. It's called friendly intimidation. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people wrapped around your finger in no time.
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the eye of the beholder.
So there is a knack to it! How do you learn it? Can anyone do it?
Now you've got me curious. Is there special training to master?
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be old-fashioned, too. Bonus points if you speak in a way no one can understand.
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and say it.
What? They look up to you, that's all. I'm just helping them along.
Hey! What's got into Alvin and Law all of a sudden?
I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses? Was it something they ate?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously. I'll go and have a word with them.
Faria, how did you get in here?
Wait, something about her isn't right.
What's wrong with her? She doesn't even seem to know where she is.
Yeah, you're right. She looks just like the soldiers we encountered outside.
A summoning?
But that's preposterous. She never had that kind of power when—
We can talk later. Here it comes!
What? I've never known Faria to control Zoogles like that before.
All that with a stone that looks suspiciously like a master core.
What the? Where did she get her hands on that?
First we handle the Zoogles, then we get some answers.
Go for the weak point!
Try harder!
Blood. Take this!
Try harder!
Bloody in a vine? Ungrateful. I'm sorry to help you.
Try harder!
Armor won't save you!
Double Deacon! Dragon Form!
Annihilation!
Resonate with the earth!
Double Demon Fang! Dragon Form! Try harder!
Not in your dreams! Healing
Double
now!
Demon Kisara!
Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclops! Now it's just her! Faria, can you hear me? Faria!
She's preparing another summoning!
The art she's casting is way too powerful to control. At this rate, her body won't be able to take much more.
Dohalie!
Forgive me.
Man, I thought we were goners.
Everything okay?
Yes. She's only unconscious.
Not her. I meant you.
Shion, please. Can you treat her?
I can try, but I can't promise she'll be back to her real self when she wakes up. All I can do is heal her physically.
We're not even supposed to be in here. Maybe it'd be better if we moved her to somewhere a little safer. Don't you think?
In that case...
I'll take her off your hands.
You? Avakir, what are you doing here?
I was curious what you were up to, so I took the liberty of following you to find out. I overheard what you said about Tarnigan, about how he really died. I'm sorry, I had no idea.
And you believed me? What makes you so sure I wasn't lying?
I like to think I know you a little better than that, Dohalim. Give me some credit. I'll take Faria. Leave her with me. I know better than to ask what you're up to. But whatever it is, I hope it all works out.
Thank you.
He seems like a good friend.
He hasn't changed. He never was one to stand out. Instead, he was always hanging back, worrying about everyone else. As for Faria, it's always the closest to me who get hurt.
You don't seriously blame yourself for what happened to her, do you?
Somebody got to her, to strike back at me. Someone who knew me well enough to know that I'd hesitate to fight back. And the same goes for you as well. Neither you nor Faria would have lost loved ones, if it wasn't for me.
You're wrong. Kelzelik was the one who killed my brother, under orders from Almadria. As for Tarnagan, if it weren't for the crown contest, he'd still be alive. That and the whole damn hierarchy that makes it possible. But that's why we're fighting. To put an end to this whole messed up system that treats people as expendable.
Indeed. Ridding society of this blight is really the only way I know how to atone for my sins.
You can't atone, Dohalim. I know it hurts to hear, but those people are dead. No amount of soul-searching or trying to make amends is going to change that. Forgiveness, acceptance, those ships have sailed.
So I just forget the harm I caused?
No, the opposite, in fact. You remember. You never forget. You keep it in your heart always. And then you go on living. Not for those already past, but for those still alive.
For those still alive.
Kisara's right. So long as we've still got breath in our bodies, we can make a difference in the lives of others. Lives being the operative word.
That's what living's all about. Being able to still make a difference. Punishing yourself for the past won't make the pain of your conscience go away.
Only fixing the problem in its stead. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. You have to live for tomorrow, Dohalim, not for yesterday. And not only that, you need to live for yourself, and for the change that you still can be.
I shall try.
Don't forget, we've still got a mystery to solve. The Forbidden Zone, remember?
Shion.
Huh?
Thank you. You have my deepest gratitude for what you did for Faria.
Glad to be of service.
What is it, Rinwell? Do you hear something again?
Yeah. It's that voice.
The will of Dana's astral energy.
What? There's so much astral energy. But where's it all coming from? It's almost like it's alive.
That was the spirit channeling ceremony just now. No, it was more than that.
What the hell was that? It felt like everything was on the brink of... like the whole world was seconds from...
Oblivion. It's the same vision as the one my thorns show me. A vision of impenetrable darkness that swallows up us and everything else.
An empty void. A nothing so complete and dominating that there aren't even words to describe it. The end of time.
The visions of the apocalypse you've been seeing. If I'd known how bad they were,
So, everything we just saw, those were Naori's memories, right?
That's right. It was as if her innermost thoughts were speaking directly to us. At least I know they weren't mine.
That power flowing into her. It reminds me of Shion's thorns. If they're what's responsible for all these visions she's been having, then maybe...
Maybe my thorns are made from that same astral energy?
If that is the case, we just found the missing link between your thorns and what happened here 3 centuries ago. No, more than a link. Perhaps even the very heart of the matter.
I've never felt astral energy so powerful. What was that?
If it's the same energy your thorns are made of, it must be dark astral energy, right? And isn't that something only Renans have?
Correct. Dark astral energy is possessed by Renans alone.
And when enough astral energy gathers together, it develops its own form of sentience. If so, maybe that complete oblivion is exactly what the Renan astral energy's will is wishing for. But why?
I don't know. Will can be a pretty vague thing to nail down. It's more of a feeling, just like the will of Dana.
But the will of Dana is made up of astral energy too, right? And if that's what's been showing us these visions... I don't know, should we really be getting so involved with this thing?
Dana's will would never want oblivion.
But you can't say that for sure.
Cut it out, you two. Squabbling over theories will get us nowhere.
Let's keep moving. If it's Dana's will showing us these memories, then I'm as clueless about its motives as any one of us. But if it could lead us to the truth, then I want to find out more.
Shion's right. All we can do is keep going. If these really are Naori's memories we're watching, there could be truths in them I was never aware of. And I think they may be the kinds of truths I need to confront if we're going to keep fighting.
I'm sorry about what I said earlier. Come on, let's go.